What if, overnight, Europe transformed into an icy wasteland, with cities like Paris and Berlin buried under snowdrifts, and vineyards replaced by glaciers? It sounds like the plot of a Hollywood blockbuster, doesn't it? But here's the twist. It's not fiction. Scientists warn that the Gulf Stream, the invisible force behind Europe's mild winters, is weakening faster than anyone anticipated. The consequences? Colder winters, failing crops, and rising seas that could change the map of the world as we know it. The Gulf Stream isn't just a current. It's the planet's ultimate climate regulator. Yet, lurking beneath its calm surface lies a mystery that could upend life across continents. Could we really lose this lifeline to global stability? And if so, how close are we to the tipping point? Stay tuned, because what you're about to uncover will forever change the way you see our world and its future. At first glance, Europe's latitude feels like it should belong to a frozen wasteland rather than the temperate haven we know. Cities like London and Berlin are farther north than New York City or Chicago. Yet, while snowstorms plague parts of the United States, Europe enjoys relatively mild winters. This anomaly isn't random. It's the Gulf Stream and AMOC working behind the scenes, quietly shaping Europe's climate as if orchestrating a masterpiece. These mighty ocean currents act as nature's furnace, pulling heat from the tropics and delivering it to Europe's shores. Imagine the Gulf Stream as a colossal conveyor belt, with the AMOC ensuring this belt runs smoothly, circulating warm and cold waters across the Atlantic. Together, they're the unsung heroes behind Europe's winter evenings that invite cozy firesides, not survivalist instincts. But this phenomenon doesn't just stop at warm winters. It powers Europe's agriculture and sustains its biodiversity, creating conditions for a thriving ecosystem. Without these currents, Europe's fertile plains and lush forests might look more like Siberia than the postcard-perfect landscapes we associate with Tuscany or the French Riviera. Every glass of wine and hearty loaf of bread owes a silent thank you to this system. And yet, this delicate balance isn't guaranteed to last forever. Changes loom on the horizon, threatening to disrupt what feels like a gift from nature. What happens when this perfectly tuned system starts to falter? That, my friend, is a question we can't afford to ignore as we move forward into the hidden complexities of ocean currents. Beneath the waves of the Atlantic, a quiet choreography of water flows dictates the rhythm of our climate. The Gulf Stream is the star performer, transferring tropical warmth northward with precision and power. But behind every leading act, there's a support system, the AMOC, a deep ocean current that ties the show together. Together, they balance the planet's thermal energy, shaping the seasons and steering the global climate. Think of the Gulf Stream as an express highway, delivering heat to Europe faster than nature's usual pace. Meanwhile, the AMOC works like an engine room, ensuring cold waters from the poles return southward while warm waters rise. This invisible teamwork not only warms Europe but also moderates temperatures worldwide, keeping the tropics from overheating and the poles from deep freezes. What's mind-blowing is how these currents interact with climate change. As Arctic ice melts, freshwater floods the North Atlantic, disrupting the salinity these currents depend on. Without the right salt levels, the AMOC weakens, slowing the Gulf Stream like a car running low on fuel. The chain reaction can spiral globally. Think extreme weather events, shifting monsoons, and rising sea levels. This delicate dance of currents has held for centuries, but humanity is nudging the balance. If this system collapses, the consequences won't just ripple, they'll roar across continents. So, what's at stake as these changes unfold? The answer, as always, lies in the bigger picture of climate moderation. The cracks in this delicate system are becoming harder to ignore. Climate change is the driving force behind a series of alarming shifts, with Arctic ice melting at unprecedented rates. As freshwater flows into the North Atlantic, the salinity crucial for the Gulf Stream and AMOC begins to dilute. These changes may seem subtle, but their impacts ripple across the globe, threatening the very balance that sustains life as we know it. Imagine this: the Gulf Stream slowing down, its once powerful current now a shadow of its former self. This isn't a distant theory. It's a reality scientists are racing to understand. Without the Gulf Stream's heat transfer, Europe's winters could become bitterly cold, mirroring climate seen in northern Canada. Crops could fail, and ecosystems finely tuned to specific temperatures might face collapse. The stakes couldn't be higher. Global warming isn't just melting ice, it's accelerating a cascade of disruptions. Rising sea levels from polar ice melt threaten coastal cities, while weakened currents alter weather systems worldwide. Monsoons, critical for agriculture in Asia, could shift unpredictably, leaving millions vulnerable to famine. The AMOC, once a silent guardian, teeters under the weight of human-induced change, and the clock is ticking. The warning signs are all around us, and the questions grow louder. How close are we to crossing the tipping point? What would a world without the Gulf Stream even look like? If you're as captivated by these unfolding mysteries as we are, don't stop here. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because understanding these global shifts is just the beginning of a journey you won't want to miss. Building on the warning signs we've already uncovered, the potential collapse of the Gulf Stream and AMOC paints a grim picture for Europe and the world. Without these ocean currents, Europe's mild winters could turn into harsh, unforgiving seasons, akin to Siberian cold. Agriculture, a pillar of European prosperity, would struggle to adapt. Crops that thrive in temperate climates, from wheat to wine grapes, could fail, triggering food shortages and economic upheaval. Biodiversity wouldn't escape unscathed. Entire ecosystems, from marine life in the Atlantic to terrestrial species dependent on Europe's current climate, would face unprecedented challenges. Coral reefs, already under siege from global warming, would suffer even more as disrupted currents exacerbate water temperature fluctuations. The ripple effect would extend far beyond Europe, with species extinction accelerating globally. And it doesn't stop there. Sea level rise would intensify, submerging coastal cities and displacing millions. Regions dependent on monsoon rains, like South Asia, would face erratic weather patterns, devastating agriculture and livelihoods. The interplay of these disruptions could further amplify global warming, creating a feedback loop that accelerates the crisis. The stakes couldn't be higher. As we unravel the interconnected impacts of these systems, it's clear that no corner of the world would remain untouched. But what's causing this unraveling? And is there any way to stop it? Let's take a closer look at the unfolding global drama and see how it ties into the larger picture of climate change. As the threads of the Gulf Stream and AMOC unravel, the implications extend far beyond Europe's borders. These systems act as global climate stabilizers, and their collapse could unleash chaos worldwide. Picture monsoon patterns in Asia becoming erratic, leaving farmers without the predictable rains they've relied on for centuries. This domino effect could spark food crises in regions already teetering on the brink. Meanwhile, rising sea levels, accelerated by melting Arctic ice, would inundate coastal cities from New York to Mumbai. The displacement of millions would strain resources, create climate refugees, and fuel geopolitical tensions. Even distant ecosystems like the Amazon rainforest could feel the shockwaves, as shifts in ocean currents influence global weather patterns, disrupting rainfall essential for its survival. The biodiversity impact would be catastrophic. From the icy waters of the poles to the coral reefs of the tropics, marine species adapted to specific temperature ranges would face extinction. The ripple effect could devastate entire food chains, with consequences reaching every corner of the globe. The Gulf Stream isn't just an Atlantic marvel. It's a linchpin of planetary balance. The stakes aren't just environmental, they're personal. Each disrupted current ties back to human lives, livelihoods, and legacies. So, what can be done to protect these systems that quietly underpin our existence? The answers may surprise you, but they require action before it's too late. Let's delve into the solutions and responsibilities shaping our future. Sea level rise isn't just a slow, creeping threat. It's a ticking time bomb with global implications. As Arctic ice melts and the AMOC weakens, ocean currents slow down, allowing waters to rise faster along coastlines. Cities like Miami, Venice, and Dhaka are already grappling with flooding, but the worst may still be ahead. Imagine iconic landmarks submerged, not just by the tides, but by humanity's inaction. The disruption doesn't stop at aesthetics. Coastal communities face the loss of homes, businesses, and even entire ways of life. As the Gulf Stream falters, waters along the U.S. East Coast could rise significantly faster than the global average. This would mean billions spent on infrastructure, flood defenses, and recovery efforts, stretching resources already under pressure from other climate-related crises. Biodiversity takes another hit in this scenario. Mangroves, coral reefs, and coastal wetlands, which serve as natural barriers and habitats, would struggle to survive rising waters. These ecosystems aren't just beautiful. They're vital to fisheries, water quality, and storm protection. Their loss would ripple through food chains and human livelihoods, creating a cascade of economic and environmental challenges. And yet, this isn't just about rising water. It's about rising stakes. What happens when entire regions become uninhabitable? How do we adapt when climate change doesn't give us the luxury of time? As the tides rise, so do the questions about our preparedness and commitment to safeguarding the future. Let's turn the focus to the larger global warming picture and what it means for humanity. At the core of this unraveling web of consequences lies a familiar villain: global warming. The Gulf Stream and AMOC, nature's climate guardians, are intricately tied to the warming planet. As greenhouse gas emissions soar, they amplify the melting of Arctic ice, injecting freshwater into the North Atlantic and threatening the salinity balance these currents rely on. The cascading effects ripple far beyond Europe's mild winters, touching every corner of the Earth. Global warming accelerates feedback loops that worsen its own impact. The weakening of the AMOC slows the Gulf Stream, leading to rising sea levels and further Arctic ice loss. It's a cycle that feeds on itself, pushing global temperatures higher and creating extremes in weather, from heat waves scorching one region to freezing winters gripping another. These shifting patterns leave no ecosystem untouched. Agriculture faces the brunt of these changes. Crops depend on stable climates, yet global warming disrupts rain patterns, intensifies droughts, and increases the frequency of storms. Meanwhile, biodiversity suffers as habitats shrink or shift faster than species can adapt. The intricate balance that sustains life, land, sea, and air, seems increasingly fragile in the face of a warming world. But global warming isn't just an environmental issue, it's a human one. As these changes accelerate, the challenges we face grow more urgent. How do we adapt? What innovations can mitigate the damage? And perhaps most importantly, what role will each of us play in shaping a more sustainable future? These questions demand answers, and the journey to uncover them starts now. Now that you've unlocked the secrets of the Gulf Stream and its vital role in our world, take a moment to reflect on what you've gained. This isn't just about science. It's about understanding the hidden forces that shape life as we know it. Few people grasp how deeply connected we are to the natural systems that keep our planet in balance. By learning this, you've joined a select group of individuals who seek not just to exist, but to thrive with knowledge. Think about it. How many others remain unaware of these looming changes and their impact on every aspect of life? Climate, agriculture, biodiversity? You've just scratched the surface of a monumental story, one that holds countless more mysteries waiting to be uncovered. Doesn't it make you wonder what other truths lie hidden in the depths of our planet's past, present, and future? Here's your next step. Stay curious, stay informed, and keep growing. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications to keep exploring with us. Because the more you learn, the closer you get to becoming part of that enlightened few who truly understand the world and how to make the most of it.